Today I'm just going to be going through one of the homework questions for 6.6 to try and help you out in understanding the content. Because, again, this is a difficult topic. I want to make sure that you guys get it. Again, this is over altitude on hypotenuse. So each of these questions is going to have an altitude coming to the hypotenuse from the right angle. So this is each of those types of problems. Now, again, I'm just going to go through number one for the homework. And again, it's split into A, B, and C, so I'll do each of these so that you guys can see exactly how these are done once again. Now, for letter A, this is the first one that we're going to be working with today. It tells us that EH is equal to 7 and HG is equal to 3. They would like us to solve for HF, so I'm just going to go ahead and give that a variable. That will be called X for right now. Now, if I look at this, the first thing I want to do is I want to check and see where X is at. And if I look at X, I see that's this altitude here. Now, which triangles is X on? Well, it's on the small triangle on the right side over here. And it is also on the medium triangle on the left side. So therefore, I'm going to have my small triangle. Let me go ahead and write this, my small triangle. And that will be set equal to our medium triangle. So that will be how we set up our ratios. We're using the small triangle on one side of our proportion for that ratio. And on the other side of our proportion, we're using the medium triangle. Now, we need to determine which sides we're given on each of these triangles. So if I look at this, on my small triangle, that's what I'm going to focus on first, my small triangle. And I realized I probably should have done this as 7 and 3 in red, and then 3 should be in blue here. So let me go ahead and just change that real quick. So if I look at this, 3 on my small triangle is the short leg. So I'll have short leg, because that's one of the pieces that I'm given. And further, X on my small triangle is the long leg. So I'll also have my long leg here. So this is how we're going to be setting up our proportions. Because if I look at my larger triangle, my medium triangle on the left side, I'm given not only the long leg, which is 7, but also the short leg, which again is just X. So we'll be able to set up our ratio. So let's go ahead and start with our small triangle. And again, our small triangle, we're keeping it all in the same ratio, and it's going to be short leg over long leg. So therefore, for our small triangle, we'll have the ratio of 3 over X. On our medium triangle, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take the short leg and the long leg in our medium triangle, just set up our proportion. So for our medium triangle, our short leg is X. Our long leg is 7. So that will be our proportion. From here, we're going to go ahead and cross multiply. When we cross multiply, we'll get X squared. So let me go ahead and do that in a different color. I'll give us X squared equals 21. From here, we need to get rid of our square, so we take the square root of both sides. The square and the square root cancel, giving us X is equal to the radical 21, which is about, and again, we want to round to the nearest tenth, right? That's what it says right here, which is about 4.6. So therefore, for letter A, HF is equal to 4.6 if these conditions are met. All right, let's go ahead and move on to part B. Part B, it states EH is equal to 7. HG is equal to 4. And then we want to find EF. So if I look down here, we have EF, and we're just going to go ahead and call that X for now. We're just going to give it a variable. Now at this point, we need to look at which triangles we're given and which triangles we can use. So on this, if I look at this, this is a right angle still. X can be found on the large triangle, the whole thing, And it can be also found on the medium triangle. So we're going to use the medium triangle and the large triangle here. So I'm going to go ahead and set up my ratio as medium triangle is equal to my large triangle. So that'll be our ratio. Next, we need to look at what sides were given in both of those triangles. So first off, if I look at my medium triangle, x is the hypotenuse. So therefore, I'm going to have hypotenuse. I know it's the hypotenuse because it is opposite the 90-degree angle. So we have our hypotenuse, and then if I continue looking at the medium triangle, what else do they give me? Well, they also give me the long leg, EH, which they say is 7. So I'm going to have it hypotenuse over long leg. And that will be our ratio that we set up for both triangles. So if I look at the large triangle, I also have the long leg, which is x. And I also have the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is EG, so the full thing, which would be 7 plus 4, which is, of course, 11. So setting up our proportion now, let's go ahead and start with the medium triangle. The medium triangle, the hypotenuse is x. Whoops, let me go ahead and get rid of that green. The hypotenuse is x. And the long leg for our medium triangle is 7. Now let's look at the large triangle, the overall triangle that we see here. We have hypotenuse over long leg for that. So again, the hypotenuse for our large triangle is 7 plus 4, which is 11. And the long leg for our large triangle is the variable that we're trying to solve for, x. Now we know that we're on the right track if we see a geometric mean, meaning that we have two numbers or two variables that are the same that are kitty corner from one another. That's how we know that we did our proportion correctly. So at this point, we can go ahead and cross multiply and solve. If I cross multiply, we get x squared equals 7 times 11, which is, of course, 77. And then we're going to go ahead and take the square root of 77 to get rid of that square. And that will leave us with x is equal to about, let me go ahead and change that. It's not exactly, but it's about 8.8. Again, we're rounding to the nearest tenth once again. So therefore, for letter B, EF is equal to 8.8 units. All right, so that's our second one. Our final one of the day is going to be letter C. It states, if GF is 6 and EG is 9, we want to find HG. So this little section in here, we'll call that X for now. Now if we look at this, we have X. Well, which triangles can we find X on? Well, it's on the small triangle, and it's also found on the large triangle overall. So we're going to have our two triangles. We're going to have the small triangle, and that's going to be equal to the large triangle in terms of our ratio. Whenever we set up our ratio, we're staying on the same triangle. Now, at this point, let me go ahead and erase this real quick down below, clean it up a little bit. At this point, we're going to look for the pieces that we have on each of these triangles. So if I look at the small triangle, if I take a look at the small triangle, I have my short leg, which is X. So therefore, I have short leg, just set up my ratio. And then let me go ahead and, well, I don't think I can change that color, but let me go ahead and do that. So we have our short leg, which is X. And we also have our hypotenuse, which is 6, because that is opposite the right angle. So therefore, we're given the short leg and the hypotenuse. No, I spelled that wrong. I'll just leave it as hypo. All right. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and set up our ratios, starting with our small triangle. Again, the small triangle is right over here, triangle HGF. And for that ratio, we're doing short leg over hypotenuse. Well, our short leg was x. And our hypotenuse on the small triangle was 6. Then we look over at our large triangle, the full thing overall. In our large triangle, our short leg is 6. And our long leg is 9, or sorry, not our long leg, our hypotenuse. Our hypotenuse is 9 plus x. It's the full thing. Now again, we know that we're on the right track if we have the same number or variable right across from each other. So kitty corner. And that's the case for here because we have 6 and 6. So at this point, we can go ahead and cross multiply and solve. When we cross multiply, we'll be given 36 equals x times 9 plus x. At this point, I distribute the x through the parentheses, give me 36. Let me go ahead and just rearrange this. 9x plus x squared equals 36. Well, we have an x squared. Looks like we're going to have to factor. So I'm going to go ahead and move everything to the same side. This will give me x squared plus 9x minus 36 equals 0. At this point, we're just going to go ahead and solve for x. So again, we're factoring here. Multiply our a value times our c value. 1 times negative 36 is negative 36. Next, we look for all the numbers that multiply to be negative 36 and add to be positive 9. So I'm going to list out all the factors of negative 36. We have 1 in negative 36. We have 2 and negative 18. We have 3 and negative 12. Oh, what about negative 3 and positive 12? Well, those will add to be positive 9, and they'll multiply to be negative 36. So those are our two terms. So this will turn into x minus 3 times x plus 12 equals 0. From here, we can go ahead and solve for each of these equations. So we have x minus 3 equals 0. And our other equation is x plus 12 equals 0. If we solve for each of these, we get x is equal to positive 3. And we also get x is equal to negative 12. But if we think about this, if I plug in negative 12 for x, that's saying that this distance is at negative 12 units. And we can't have negative units. So therefore, x equaling negative 12 is out. X will equal, though, positive 3. And as a result, hg, since hg is x, hg is 3 units. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. Of course, if you have any further questions or need anything on this, just let me know. But have a great rest of your day, guys. Thank you for watching and take care.